Hey everybody, we're two oil guys living in Houston. We've been in the business for a while. We've got a huge network of oil and gas companies. We're here to kind of share our network and give everybody a feeling of what's going on in Houston and around the States in the energy industry right now.
I'm Mike.
I'm Justin, and this is our podcast. So today we have a guest, and it is Bobby Mack. Bobby McAnulty is your actual name, but Bobby Mack, I'm just going to tell the people who you are. You're the president right now with NDT Services. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, why don't you just start off by giving us some information on your company and yourself, and then we can get into the news of the day.
Okay, so we pretty much do non-destructive testing for mainly the oil and gas sector. We do other things, small projects that aren't oil and gas related, but 95% of our work is oil and gas. We inspect pretty much anything, ground to the ground.
So you're on the rig site, just for everybody who's listening. You are at rig site doing all this inspection.
Majority of the time, we have a pipe yard, so we prefer that they send their tubulars in. It's just faster, more cost efficient. No hotels. I don't know if you guys ever had to pay for a hotel out here.
Good luck finding them, much less paying for it. It's too expensive.
Oh,
you keep costs down.
Right now you can find one, no problem.
I'm sure you could.
So we just talked before we started. Maybe you can tell our listeners you are where right now and what's going on there.
So yeah, right now I'm in Midland, Texas, in our pipe yard, checking on the guys. I don't know what happened. Can you also see me?
No, that's cool. That's good. You just told everybody your name and how to spell it. So that's good.
Okay. I got a phone call and it popped up, but I'm out here in Midland. It's still a lot of people, a lot of things moving around. We're actually extremely busy right now, which is scary.
That's rare. That's not happening. Most of the oil field patch that's going on right now, whether it's service or operator, I mean, it's slowed down to the ninth degree, right? So busy in what terms? I mean, you're doing a lot more inspection these days?
Yeah. So basically an operator pays a drilling company to have their rig on location. And whenever they stack the rig, they're required to get everything inspected. So they charge back. So you've heard the calm before the storm.
So it is scary.
We call this the storm before the calm because we just have rigs.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, and that's great. So you're kind of reverse. So when rigs are being stacked, you're the busiest.
That's not preferably, but yes, that's pretty much how it gets.
And then I'm assuming they get inspected before they actually hit location because they were stacked for X period of time. They got to make sure that they're maintenance and inspected before they actually start to drill again. Yeah,
to some extent. It's not typically the same inspection, but yes, usually when it goes out to another operator, it'll get checked again.
Yeah.
Does each operator have their own inspection needs and wants, or is it industry standard? For example, if a Noble had a rig and then that rig then gets passed to like a Concho, do you have to do different inspections based on what they want you to do?
Yeah, so usually it's in the contract. Pretty much standard out here. They do category 4 inspections on their drill pipe. If sometimes operators will do upgrades on the pipe to make sure there's really no issues with it, but typically it's a category 4 inspection.
Cool.
So everything I've been reading these days is operators are cutting a third, a fourth, or half of their production, right? So obviously this is testimony to rigs that are getting stacked and will be planning to get stacked over the next couple of months over the course of this year. Do you have typically like some sort of heads up whenever it starts to get busy again, previous to like permits and such, or is permits first and then they call you?
You know what? Permits permits matter, but usually whenever they're dealing with contracts, whenever we have pipe in our yard, we'll start, they'll start looking for inventory, certain types of inventory, what the customer wants, what the contract requires, whether it's 5-inch, 5.5, or whatever size pipe they plan on drilling with. And the inspection category will locate in the yard. So we get a little bit of a heads up, but sometimes they don't go through, right? 2015, it was like that. You would get requests for tubulars or check into tubulars, and you would locate it, give the customer the information of the tubulars, and then they might not pick the rig up. But that's definitely a big part of it.
What you were really saying is you were trying to see if Bobby was like the canary in the mine, right?
Right. Well, I was hoping there was some kind of correlation between the two, and he's like our crystal ball, and we were able to just go straight to Bob Mack and get the info scoop, right, without paying one of the other outsources right now. Right. Yeah. It's all about saving costs. Yeah, you and I both, and probably so does everybody else.
Well, it's kind of like go ahead.
I know I tend to seem to know when they're going down, when contracts are ending, right before the Baker Hughes rig report, comes out. That's what's kind of scary. It'll say that we lost 20 rigs this week, and of way more rigs that could be stacking, and so
usually there's economics 101, supply and demand, right? We have this shortage of demand right now. So obviously the big gorilla in the room is COVID-19. How are you preparing for that? You're currently in Midland. You're actually from Houston, Texas. You drove down. You're planning on flying back. How does that look like logistically? We're supposed to have a shelter in place here in Houston by midnight tonight. So how do you adjust accordingly to that?
I don't. I stay out here to support the customers. That's one of the reasons I came out.
That's huge right now.
When you get really busy, it's you want to have as many eyes on your guys as possible.
Yeah.
Make sure they're working safely, making sure they're doing a good job so you don't run into issues in the future. COVID-19 thing, I don't know what's going to happen as far as when this thing's going to stop. I don't know. I have a very optimistic, positive outlook for the oil field with COVID-19.
That's refreshing to hear, because I do as well, and I keep hearing negativity. But when there's doom and gloom, there's definitely a window of opportunity, if you will, right? We just got to evolve with it and just think outside the box.
So speaking of that, what is your take on COVID-19? Do you think it's overblown right now, or?
Oh, well, so I don't know. There's no studies on the long-term effects of having it. Even after you recover from it, who knows what it'll do. So it's hard to say anything's overblown. I mean, the way they're responding, you'd almost think that we're not being told everything about it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I'm very optimistic on it. I think this will be the first downturn that I've been through where the government is actually caring. They don't want small businesses to fail. So these companies, typically when these downturns happen, small companies get bought up. They go out of business. They can't, operating capital is everything.
We're smarter these days, right? I mean, we don't want the economy to crash. Obviously, that's terrible. We don't want another Great Depression on our hands, whether it's oil and gas, restaurant businesses. I mean, I also own a party rental business, and that's just doing terrible right now, right? So, there's no bias in this current economy situation. Like, everybody's impacted no matter what, small dogs, big dogs.
But for you, Bobby, I think it's awesome in a sense. I mean, it's kind of, I don't think you want to make light of it, and you probably have this kind of feeling where your company is still busy when everybody else is down, but at least somebody's still busy in the oil industry with all of this stuff going on. That's a fair assessment, right? I mean, you are still rolling.
Yeah, it makes it tough, especially whenever you have these operators. They don't want to wait when they're stacking the rigs. They want the inspection done. They want it to get machined. They want hard banding done. They want quality. Especially the drilling companies, they don't want issues with their next operator. But you don't want to hire guys, right? That's the thing. You don't want to hire. So I mean, heck, we have managers out there doing inspection. Because most of our managers came from inspection.
Yeah, it's like chicken or the egg, right? Do you hire? Do you not? Do you train? I mean, these are all expenses that could potentially be disastrous down the road because you have no idea how long you have work for. It could be short-ended. It could be long-term. You have no clue at times. So staying lean and mean, I think, is definitely the way to go. And, we have a rather large audience, I'd say. And I'd be curious to know from everybody out there, like, how is it impacting you? Are you an operator? Are you a service company? Are you busier? Are you like Bob Mack, where all of a sudden you got this boom, knowing it's short term, but you're taking full advantage of it, staying lean, getting your money in, and trying to weigh out the storm, right? So, I mean, I think different strokes for different folks, and everybody's in a different situation right now. So I'd be curious to know.
Yeah.
Well, like with us, even though we're busy, they're getting a lot of bids, right? And even if, 3 bids and a buy, we operate the same way. What I've noticed is when there's not a downturn, if you bid and you don't get the job, they don't even tell you. It's just the other company comes out and does the job and they don't tell you. But now they're telling you, hey, you were too much money.
Yeah.
You might not have been. But the next time you do your pricing,
right. They want you to sharpen your pencil. There's something to say about people that do come back, though, without the intention of you sharpening your pencil. It's the intention of just, hey, I want you to know that thank you for participating in this bidding process. We elected to go with somebody else. I actually have so much respect for that. Not everybody does that. They just keep you in the dark and you're left to assume, do we have it? Do we not have it? It's a very important part of a sales process and budgeting for whether it's a service company or even an operator dealing with vendors, right? So planning is a stage that all companies go through.
Right. I mean, the coronavirus thing is scary, especially for our company. It's like if somebody gets it, it'll, we be terrible. But we go to rigs, I don't know if they're checking temperatures when you're getting to rigs, hitting you with the lasers, making sure.
They are actually, right? So literally, and that's different from in the past, obviously. So people right now the operators on the rig are hitting you with the temperature as your crew comes out?
Some of them are. A lot of even facilities in Houston. I was, we do inspection. I went and seen a customer last week and they hit me with the temp gun.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, I was talking to an operator yesterday and what they were discussing was, look, we don't have any plans of slowing down. We're planning on maintaining the rig count the way it is, barring that the rig hands on location don't get sick, right? So there's got to be measures in place to mitigate that kind of thing from happening because, it's an easy spread. If one person on the crew gets sick, we're living in close quarters out there. I mean, I was on the well site. You've been out at the well site. You know how close these people work.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't want that to happen, obviously.
Well, you heard it here first. That's some current news. They are hitting rig site workers with temperature guns. So that's interesting. I did not know that. Maybe we'll break news on CNN because Bobby Mack gave us the update. That's great. Hey, we're just about to run out of time here. Just want to say thank you for coming on our cast here. We really appreciate it. And for all our listeners and viewers out there, maybe you can give them a quick hit on where to find you on the web.
So LinkedIn, macco.com, macco.com.
Okay, great.
All over.
So that's where they can, if operators or anybody who's interested in using your services, they can go there. Once again, we really appreciate you coming on and stay safe. And for our audience, till next time.
Safe travels back to Houston.
Hey, thanks.